Welcome, it's Carnage. Today we're taking a look at G.I. Joe Classified Retro, Dr. Mindbender. That's right, we have now a carded version of Dr. Mindbender with some changes. So let's go ahead and dive into those changes. Now this, as far as the tooling goes, other than the cape, this figure is exactly the same that we received back when the deluxe Dr. Mindbender and Serpentor became available. And just making some comparisons, I do believe that the skin tone is just a bit different from the exclusive version of Dr. Mindbender. And also, I've noticed that the purple is a bit lighter. There are some subtle differences here, like his eyebrows with the little evil part that pokes up. I don't know what you call that, but they are very pronounced on Dr. Mindbender. Vincent Price has those as well. And I feel like the mustache might be a little bit heavier. There's also more detail to the eye, more eyeball detail, and a little bit of glare added in there, very realistic. And a bit more paint app on his monocle makes it just pop and stand out just a little bit more. And moving down, the silver details are pretty much the same. There's that cod piece. I noticed that the buckle there on his holster was left black, which was curious to me. Obviously, he has the same accessories. The paint is a bit more a brighter, more brilliant silver. I've never quite known how to put that piece on his belt and make it really work. That's about the best way that I can figure it out with the hose up front there. Also, they added these silver, I don't even know what you call them, but it's basically a circle that goes all the way around the top of his boots. Previously, that was just black, and still has the silver buckles there. And then, of course, the main event is the Cobra logo on the back of his cape that previously, and there he goes, that got to have some action in there that previously was missing. I'm going to go ahead and pull the old exclusive Dr. Mindbender out because I feel like they used a different type of material that just feels a little thinner and cheaper to me, and it doesn't quite have the luster, as you can see there on the right. It's a little bit shorter, and like I said, it's a thinner material, so it doesn't drape. You know, we're not working with a huge piece of fabric here. Dang it. So, you know, the draping is what it is, you know. It really doesn't drape. It's not big enough to drape. But that said, it's on the right, it's a bit of a heavier material, so I just feel like it does drape a little bit better, falls into place a little bit better, and frankly, it photographs a little bit better. So, you know, these guys are so similar, other than the capes, you know, that I don't know that it's really going to make much difference for us photographers which one that we use. I just feel like there are some more face details on the retro version. They just pop a little bit better to me. So, and another thing about that cape is mine on the retro keeps coming off his shoulders. I have to be really careful to continually adjust that if I'm taking a photo. So that's another thing that I've noticed about that cape that I'm just not crazy about. That said, Dr. Mindbender is probably my most photographed figure between he and Zartan. I think I probably shoot them more than anyone else, even though Destro is my favorite. So I'm excited to have this. I think if you are just putting your figures up on the shelf, I don't think there's really any reason to add this to your collection. If you're a photographer and, like me, you feature this guy often, it might be cool to just have a fresh version. I've just noticed how much I've handled this thing, and it's just kind of, I hate to say it, but it's starting to look kind of old, so it's nice to have just a fresh version. I also noticed that he doesn't quite have the glare. Look at the chest, and how on the left there isn't quite the glare and the skin that we have on the right. So I feel like, I don't know if that's something intentional, but I like that, obviously. And that would probably sway me towards using this one in the future for photo shoots. And it's going to be interesting to make the comparisons on Major Blood, too, because I know that one's got more tooling differences than this one. So anyway, this has been an interesting comparison, and again, just one of my favorite figures, so I'm happy to have Dr. Mindbender again. I hope that we get the Arctic version of Dr. Mindbender sometime soon. I feel like we probably will now that we're starting to go towards an Arctic themed HasLab. So what are your thoughts on retro Dr. Mindbender, and who else are you looking forward to as far as the retro treatment? Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you soon. The set that I'm using here, the briefcase, is from the Joker Gotham by Gaslight set. And I highly recommend that for some really gnarly medical tools for the doctor here. It is very intimidating. Here's another piece from Marvel Legends that looks really good. And yet another Marvel Legends piece added on to his little brain container. Sorry for the repeated photo there. I like using that blue blast effect in Dr. Mindbender's weapon since I don't quite understand what it is. There again is that blue blast effect. I think it probably works the best. I like that slightly lighter purple here on the retro. And again, there's less glare on the skin, so I think it's an improvement, although it's very similar to the exclusive. Thanks for watching, folks.
Subscribe.